the deep state.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
I honestly think I think everybody on the Biden side, I think it's a lot of puppets. Right?
Yeah.
You're basically you got Biden as the main character, but Biden's not making any decisions.
Nope.
Like everything's running through him.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's running. Like,
He's
Kamala
the
Harris
personnel
could be
to
the same
blame.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had the change today. We just had the change.
Remember when he was first elected, everybody just hated him? Everybody that's I would say more an immigrant,
hated Trump?
hated Trump when he first was elected.
Yeah.
Look, even, what's his name? YG, right? They made that's like fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Trump. Whatever, FTT, whatever it's called, right?
Now he's on
Now
the
it's-
remix.
Yeah, now he's a remix.
Yeah, you fuck with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Now he's on the remix.
Now we fuck with him. That's
That's
hilarious.
crazy, man.
Well, that's the thing. So like this is the first time in history.
Okay, but
Oh, really now?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, going back to the whole Trump thing, this is the first time in history. Well, they're saying in 112 years or something like that, where you can take the term of one president and compare it with another one and get basically the result of it. You've never been able to do that, where you have one term of Trump, one term of Biden, and you're like, which one do you want for the next one? Right? So this is the first time where you can compare it, where this has, I forgot what president, it was long, it was like 100+ years ago. Like we weren't even around at that time when you were able to do that. We've never been able to do that ever. I don't know why we're saying we. It's not like we can vote. We're Canadians, but like, you know.
But it goes to show the impact of political, like the political landscape of what United States is happening. It has such a big impact on us because we're suckered into what's happening.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
But that's another issue is like our Canadian political landscape is
Such bullshit. It's
When's the
a
last time
fucking
you ever
scam.
seen any type of discussion when it comes to the House of Chambers? When's the last time you ever heard of this discussion? Have you ever heard of it?
No, man.
Don't you think we as Canadians, that's important to be put on outlets, no matter good or the bad or the evil, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's a good topic to kind of spread around and discuss about? But why don't we talk about it though? Why do you think that is?
Heck, man, there's a reason why I don't follow politics.
No, look at it though. Like, why is it? Like, we're so divulged into U.S. politics, but Canadian.
It's because it's like a soap opera, dude. At the end of the day, it's like a movie to us. You got Hulk Hogan up there. You got Dana White coming out, dude, dropping the opening.
Yeah.
You got a bullet that missed him and chipped his ear. You got, dude. It's like we're on what, episode 3 of 2024 right now.
Yo, it's for real.
Dude, and one of the craziest thing is, so when I was trying to get advice for this podcast was up,
Yeah.
they said one of the red flags of something not to do is talk politics. Within 5 minutes,
We're already talking about politics.
We've already canceled ourselves, so it's only up from here, guys. It's only up from
Especially
here.
living in Canada.
Yeah,
Yo.
especially living in Canada.
A lot of the censorship that happens.
Everybody's me after us, man. Global
Everyone's
News,
gonna be- 100%,
CBC.
100%. Yeah.
talked
Like sliding
about
into the DMs, be like, "Sir, can we get a comment?" That actually happened to me during COVID time.
Don't say words.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Well, not about politics. It was when the whole COVID protocol was going on.
Yeah.
It was my cousin's wedding, and we had, I forgot what the limit was, 50 people or something like that.
Yeah.
So we had like
It
20,
was, yeah, it was
so we had
50.
25, 30 people on a party bus. People
Yeah.
are making stories and everything, right?
Just
I
all
didn't
that
even think
shit.
about it, right?
Yeah,
Stored it on a
yeah.
party bus.
Yeah.
Global TV got it.
Oh, shit.
Global TV
Look
got
at
it.
these
I got
fucking
friends.
clowns.
I got friends at Global TV, Omni, and stuff like that.
They're like,
Who are
what are you
messaging me like, bro, we gotta play this because you're a public profile.
Yeah.
Your alias is gonna show. Your Saint Line alias is
Oh,
gonna be at the top.
shit.
We can't because you're a public. You're not a private profile.
Yeah.
And yeah, it blasted for a week. And dude, I'm just like, the wedding was still going on when that was already being blasted. And Ryan Reynolds did a PSA directed towards
Wait,
us,
so real?
saying, guys, follow the COVID bubble. Follow the
Ryan
bubble.
Reynolds.
Don't
Sheesh.
infect. Dude, Ryan Reynolds did a PSA towards my family.
He's like reacting to
It
this
was
video.
one of the
Don't be these people.
Now
Yeah.
looking back on it, it's a funny thing. During that time, everyone hated me for it because they're like,
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I didn't even think about it. I
Yeah.
just made a story and just like, because everybody else was private, mine wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took it, and then it was on Twitter, and then I had Global TV correspondent be like, "Hey, can we get you for interview? Is this your footage?" Because that's what they always do. If it's your footage,
Yeah.
they would
Yeah.
ask you if they can use it. I'm like, "No, you can't use it." Then they went back and realized it was public, so they can just use it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, that was a fun week for
That's
everybody.
hilarious.
While the wedding's going on, we're
That's
also on
hilarious.
6 o'clock news every day. Then we're on Omni. Then
Yeah.
we're on, and then
That's insane.
yeah.
dude, it was wild, man.
Yeah, that's
Looking
funny.
back at that time though, like now you look back at like COVID time. Like I was watching some footage. Like it was messed up movie if you think about it.
Mm.
Like the shit that we were doing. Like think about even the shields to see family members.
Yeah.
I remember when the BLM parades and stuff like that. You remember when those guys were doing the silent crump dancing in front of the police?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you see that?
Now looking back on it, it is the funniest thing at that time. We're like, that's powerful, man. Dude, it is the funniest clip you'll see.
No, it's so true. But what you said is, bro, COVID was a movie.
It was a movie.
That couple of years,
Yeah.
it's like, you know how they like setting up a scene like, oh, the global news, the pandemic's taking over, the charts, how many people are infected. It's some shit that you watch in
was a movie.
And you watch that shit and it's like, yo, what's happening? And think about it though, like that panic that's set all across the world.
Yeah.
But like you're looking at country by country, like, oh, Brazil, they're overpopulated, India's overpopulated. How are they going to serve China? And then we're like, oh, how did this get out? But like, oh, China was like experimenting on people and this and that.
To the rule sets that were applied on the way we change as human beings and stuff like that, and just stuff we were doing, locking ourselves. Looking back on it, it's nuts, man. It's actually
crazy though.
It's like a weird movie.
And now you look back at it, but like, okay, what was the actually vaccines like helping? What were the mitigation of us wearing masks and stuff, and the mitigation of having this plastic barrier?
Yeah.
I have a restaurant myself. Plastic barrier. Everywhere is fucking open. What the fuck is this plastic barrier gonna do?
Not gonna do
What is
shit.
it gonna do?
It's not gonna
But
shit.
you're following the safety code. What?
Yeah.
fuck is
One of the
safety
craziest thing was when I came back from Singapore. So they had the whole system. So once you got off the airport, they take you down a tunnel. You go straight to like the testing lab, which is inside the arrival area.
Yeah.
You get tested. They put you in a car and they send you to a hotel. You got to stay in the hotel till you get your results back. It can be up to 48 hours.
Yeah.
Craziest part is the driver is just your regular Uber driver. What's he protected from? He's just a regular dude. How is he invincible? How does any of it make sense? I had no barrier between me and actually, we talked all the way there. And he's just a random dude picks me up just like any other day. And somehow this all made sense. And they locked you in the room.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do no protocol. He went on to the next ride after.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy.
the protocols were absolutely
No,
crazy.
that shit
It
was
a
like a
fun
scary.
time.
It was such a scary world, but
I
we're here
loved it.
today. You know, actually, what's actually intrigued me so much right now is how much pressure. I want to get you guys' opinion on Bronny they put.
Bronny.
Think about it though. Okay, like I'm a fan of Bronny. Everybody knows. I like certain things that you disagree with him or you don't. But think about it though. He started off a couple games like he was shooting dog shit.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. He was.
He was
0 for 12 from the 3 in the first couple games. Wasn't making anything. Did look like, bro, he shouldn't have got
12?
drafted. 0 for 12. Didn't make it, hit a 3 in the first couple games.
Shit, yeah.
It looked like he shouldn't have been drafted. No reason why. Again,
Well, a lot of
Silver
analysts were saying
Spoon,
that, right?
the Nepo baby and all that.
Yeah, 100%.
During that same time, second pick, Alex Sarr, Washington Wizard, hasn't scored. 0 points.
Yeah.
Hasn't scored in any game. Not just one, no game.
Yeah.
That's the first time it ever happened in 15 years where a second round pick went scoreless in the summer league. But yet nobody talks about him. It's just Bronny headline everywhere. Last 2 games, have you guys heard anything recently in the last couple of
He
days?
scored, right?
He scored
Guess
15.
What? He scored 12, 5, and 3.
Yeah.
And then the other game he scored 13, 4, and 3, and 2. He
Some
did
shit
good,
like
right?
that. Yeah.
Not a peep.
No.
But like, oh, he's picking it up. His rhythm is getting back into it. Cause
No, yeah.
he's 18. That just turned 19.
Wait, he's
recently.
also on a 1-year contract, a minimum contract, I think it is.
He got signed for 4 years contract.
Yeah.
All guaranteed too.
Wait, 4 years?
So rookies can get signed 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a player option. It's a team option after 2 years. They can cut him or whatnot.
Cut him
but
off, yeah.
He got that guarantee. That's the one thing I will say. Like, he got that contract before the other draft pick, which is I forgot his name. The person out of Purdue, hell of a player. He put up I think 22 last game. Crazy player. He's actually gonna be him and Reeves are gonna be that
Do you know what's gonna happen though?
the combo.
No. So what's gonna happen is when Bronny's contract ends. Do you know who's the new head coach for Lakers?
Yeah, isn't it? That
JJ
guy that
Redick?
plays
JJ
pickleball.
Redick, right?
JJ Redick.
Yeah.
So he used to play with LeBron, right?
Yeah.
So guess
JJ
what's gonna
Redick
happen?
played with him?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No.
He didn't?
JJ Redick never played with him. No, trust
I
me.
thought he did.
No,
No, but so okay, so
basketball
like
knowledge.
they're
I'm
good
the
friends.
savant of this shit. He never played.
but-
Trust me.
but
I'm a
like-
LeBron fan. Trust me. He never
But
played.
like I think JJ Redick and LeBron they have their own podcast.
They started
right?
a podcast.
So now that LeBron's gonna be close to retiring, right? He's not gonna have as much decision making as before, right?
Yeah.
But now that he has JJ Redick in his pocket,
Yeah.
and good friends, he's gonna have that upper hand to re-sign him.
Yeah.
To re-sign Bronny, because then after that 3 years with that team
Think you're
option,
too deep.
player option.
You think you're too deep?
Just lock it.
Yeah, I think my mama went outside. He's probably coming in.
No, but look at how like what pick was he? He was like 100th pick or something.
Who?
Bronny.
55th.
No, that was after.
What do you mean?
Because 55th is the pick. It's the same pick that Lakers had.
Okay.
So before that, he was 100th pick.
What do you mean? What do you mean 100 pick? Like
So they're during the draft, right?
You're
Remember
talking
how-
about like the ladder where he should get picked?
So the ladder of like, because each team has their own pick, right?
But they're only 2 rounds though. It only goes up to what's it called? 60. That's it.
No. So like he was gonna get cut though. That's what I'm saying.
Nobody was gonna pick him. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's
Yeah.
gonna pick him. But the ranking that he had amongst all other rookies, right? He was 100th.
Oh, ranking wise. Okay.
Yeah, ranking
I
wise.
get what you're saying. Sorry.
So he
sorry,
wasn't
yeah.
gonna get selected, right? At most, he'll probably go to a G League or something, right?
Do you think he'll be able to hold it down though? Like, do
I
you
think
think?
so.
He'll,
I don't think so.
but I think the Lakers
I
are
don't think
definitely like I think it's still pretty cool that you're playing with your.
The
dad.
only reason why he's
Like-
in NBA is
like,
because
like
his
it's
dad.
got me interested, and honestly,
Think
I'm
about
not a
it.
big NBA guy.
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't.
I
even
think
watch the
his
playoffs.
brother, his younger brother, is really good.
But like no,
He has a younger brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
His
as
brother really
Kardashian
good.
says, what does they say? Makes you tune in.
Makes you tune in.
NBA is
100%
a what?
makes you
A
tune in.
business.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
is.
storyline.
Yeah.
Father and son.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody
First time
wants
father
that.
and son from
Yeah.
the time that he was holding him
Holding
as a
him?
baby. Now that same
That's
baby
a
is running
story.
good.
It's a sell,
Right?
right?
That's
I'm
person
going to
what's
the
go-
game.
That's person what's
I'm
going
going
Yeah.
to LA next
I
year.
mean, who wouldn't?
I'm
I would
going.
do.
I mean,
I would
this year
too.
I'm going around Christmas time.
But
I'm
long
going.
term, he's done.
No, but the thing
He's
is, like,
done. I don't think-
I don't think so. I think he's a hooper.
Yeah.
He has a 40-inch vertical. He's only 6'1", maybe.
Hmm.
You know how hard that is for 6'1"? I'm 6'3". My
Yeah.
ass can't get over 35. No
Yeah.
chance. Even if I at my peak, 35. Fuck, I could barely touch 30s.
Yeah.
Like having that vertical, he's explosive. I'm telling you, people are they're riding on him too much. You know why? Because what LeBron said about that narrative. Because he was sitting on this, same thing. He's sitting on a podcast.
Yeah.
He's like, my son can, just come in the league right now.
Yeah.
Can take over a lot of the sorry people that are in the NBA right now. When you say that, you put pressure on your kid.
100% you do.
Because you can't
Yeah.
say that. Imagine a good question. You have your son come in, or your daughter. She's going to UFC. But like, oh, my girl can come in there, dominate some of these girls.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? They're
But it's
coming
al-
for vengeance.
But it's also the kind of environment you build in your house, right? So obviously they're
Competitive.
high-level athletes,
Yep.
right? So there's no participation points in the LeBron James house, right? There's no, go out there and try your best. You're there to dominate. Like I would say, if I kid, that'd be the same thing,
Yo.
right? I'd be like, dude, watch out for my kids.
Kid,
Fuck
yeah.
you guys up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's not me putting pressure on the kid because, well, it is putting pressure on my. But I expect my kid to be like a diamond in the rough, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I want. There's a certain level. That's why it separates the 99 from the 1%,
100%.
from the 99.
Yeah.
There, he's okay with saying that, and Bronny's okay with hearing that, right? There's a different kind of dynamic within that household that got the kid that he was carrying
That's
into
engraved.
the NBA also.
Yo.
Yeah.
Right?
Engraved in
He's
him.
not playing on some community league or anything
Yeah.
like that. He
But
got him
NBA.
to that point. He got him to the NBA, and he's willing to say that publicly. He's willing to put that out there. That's and LeBron knows that's on his shoulders too. And that's actually even harder on a guy that can't control the game. You can't control what Bronny's doing,
Yeah.
right? So it's like me going, "Hey guys, my fighter's gonna whoop your
Yeah.
fighter's ass, but
Yeah.
I don't control my fighter's body.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just put my word on him."
It's like the
It's his
ultimate
own
fighter.
responsibility.
It's like an
Yeah.
ultimate fighter.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna say my fighter are the best fighters. They're gonna win. That's
You got to
the
put pressure,
confidence.
man.
Yeah.
It,
You do.
pressure's
Yeah.
the only way. You look at guys like Steph Curry who had to like reevaluate themselves and look what he became,
100%.
right? Like Kobe reevaluated
Yep.
himself, right?
Reevaluated,
To
yeah.
become. It wasn't. He didn't have no pressure. Like it was nothing but pressure. It was
Yeah.
nothing but that. Like Steph Curry's dad played in the league, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Did-
Okay,
Curry-
and you
Del
had-
Curry.
Raptors
and
and stuff.
yeah, and they were saying
Charlotte
that he wasn't
Raptors.
good enough, and they had the
Yep.
same notes as Bronny,
Yeah.
and he had to step it up. And look what he became. That was under pressure.
Yeah.
Did you
I
see
saw
what happened with the Kobe story too?
What Kobe?
So one of Kobe's
Oh
old
yeah,
friends came.
that's
remember?
bullshit. Okay, so let me talk on that after. Okay, you go ahead and tell the story.
You tell
So
the
what
story.
happened
Because
was
I was pissed about reading that
I was
crap.
pissed too. So one of
I
Kobe's
understand that
best friends-
entirely.
Yeah.
came out.
He ain't his best friend. That's some bullshit.
That's what he said.
Yeah, the guy died, and now you're gonna go on a podcast and use him as clout, and all of a sudden,
So he came out.
It's like your Pendu saying that the one guy that came over with his mom and dad up John. You're
Really
like,
helpful.
that was my best friend. I have those guys too around me, man. I have plenty of those guys. I was with Gary all the way.
Yeah.
I was always around him. He was the guy I told him to go in MMA.
Oh, bro, the headline it took off with it.
Oh, dude.
So I'll tell you what happened. So what happened was his best friend, quote unquote, came out. He's like, Kobe's an asshole.
Oh,
He's like, I reached out to him one time in regards to, he's like, I didn't ask for a handout. He's like, I just asked him for like, hey, I want to get connected so I can start something on my own. He's like, can you help me out with your connections?
Yeah.
He's like, boom. He's like, yeah, no worries. I got you, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward. He's like, he gave me the number I called. He's like, it was his assistant. Never heard anything back from him. He's like, he just left me a red, boom, boom. And then he started talking about how he treated his mom and dad. So his mom and dad actually ended up selling a lot of his memorabilia, his rings, some of his signed basketballs back in the day,
Yeah.
just due to the fact that I guess
Financial
Kobe
stress.
wasn't supporting them. He cut them out.
Yeah, they didn't have a good
okay.
relationship.
They didn't have a
Yeah.
good relationship. So
Yeah.
they took that narrative and fucking took it into a different world.
You guys want to open?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what was the other thing? He was
Wait,
he was-
who was this best friend? I'm curious.
Just some
we don't
dude-
know.
it's some
Oh,
we
dude-
don't know. He's
it's some dude that
Kobe's
launched a
dead.
podcast. Some dude that launched a podcast, and this was the first thing he spoke about. And he was also like,
Talking about
I
a
was
guy
wondering who's this salty
he was
motherfucker.
also like, he's like, I got sent to jail almost, and I needed Kobe to stand on trial and to get me off and stuff,
The
and he
fuck?
didn't because he had been just picked up by the Lakers.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would he, man? I get it. You got to separate yourself from circles. You got to separate yourself from, like me, like, you
Yeah.
separate yourself from negativity, right?
Yeah. It's good, brother.
What's up, bro?
Hey man,
Hey, how you doing, man? Nice to finally meet you. How you doing? How you doing?
Finally meet you, man. It's been a minute. This has been a long time coming.
it's like
This been
we're in a barbershop.
I know.
Yeah.
Three guys have no use for haircuts.
We were speaking on that. We're like,
We were just talking
like,
about it,
imagine if we're getting lined up.
Yeah, lined up, and you're getting a haircut. You're
Oh,
getting
we
lined
would get
Bro.
canceled so
It's
fast.
the fuck to me.
Ain't nothing underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just speaking about that. I'm like, man, imagine. Yeah. But yeah, no, so the Kobe was like, yeah, so you're going, yeah.
Oh yeah, so with that whole thing, okay, so I read it, and people always send it because they know how much of a Mamba mentality Kobe fan I am, and everything that I do,
Yeah.
like every training camp I do, all I listen to is Kobe speeches, and everything I apply to. So
Inspired,
everyone's like, dude,
man.
look at this guy who's a complete asshole to his friends and his childhood friends, and I'm like, and he's like, and Kobe said, he's like, Kobe told me that he will not go on trial and help me
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to put his Laker career on the line. His only focus is his wife and his
career
kids.
and his family,
Yeah.
What an asshole. I'm like, are you kidding me? So you're telling me a man that wants to focus on his wife and kids, but didn't
Yeah.
want to help your gangster broke ass stand on trying to get you off? I'm like, this is what I mean. Like, as you go through the steps, you're going to see your circles kind of start changing. Happened
yeah.
to me. It happens to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and those, I'm not going to call them leeches, but there's going to be people that are going to be like, listen, man, help me out. Like, help me
Yeah.
out. I need you to vouch for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when I moved here, I was hanging around some really stupid people.
Yeah.
And like, people that the main focus was where to get the next joint, where to smoke up. And
Yeah.
I was just kind of following these guys. As soon as I found MMA, everything, my whole circle started shifting out. Those
Yeah.
people will still reach out to me.
Oh, they're going
I'm
to.
not answering those calls.
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
long past that. I'm
Yeah.
long past those circles, and there's nothing I can do for you at this point, right? And I
Yeah.
don't owe you anything,
Yeah, you
right?
don't,
I don't
yeah.
owe you anything. I focused on myself. This
Yeah.
guy wanted to focus on his kids and his wife, and you're gonna hate on him for focusing
Hate
on
on him.
That's my only focus.
Yeah.
My only focus is my family. My
Yeah.
focus is my community. My focus is that. I'm sorry I can't help you get off the drug charge that
Yeah.
you have now been arrested for,
He said,
and
I'm,
that
I'm
you
starting up my life again.
starting out my life again. Good.
Fuck.
Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Figure out your stuff. Just because he's at a level and called him an asshole for that.
Guy's
like,
just
not at
petty.
all.
He's just
And
petty then.
there's certain people that agree with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's where the separation is, to make you realize certain people that'll just be stuck in this circle, and certain people will be like, listen, I need to focus and kind of break off and become a different version of myself.
yeah.
And the people that are willing to break off into a different version of themselves will understand Kobe's side completely.
Yeah.
And the people that are like, what an asshole. He turned on his friend. He turned on his friend. Dude, when I read that, I was so pissed about it because people were sending.
And
I
you
wanted
speaking
to.
on a man who's dead.
I commented on
Yeah.
every single one that they sent me. I was on
Dude, that shit's
Instagram.
going, fuck you, fuck
I
you.
was, I was writing Kobe's eulogy like
I can
I was
imagine.
last night on every Instagram post. People were sending me about it. I'm like, no, you'll not talk shit on this guy.
I can just imagine Kobe laughing his ass off. You know how Kobe's so serious and shit? This
Yeah.
is probably the only time I can
to
imagine him
me,
laughing.
it cemented even more what the Mamba mentality was.
Yeah.
You're fully focused on your goals, yourself, and what you need to achieve, and the people around you, and taking care of them, right? The core people. You can't take care of every childhood friend who was a gangbanger. You can't take, and now you got some cash in your pocket. They expect you to take care of them. This is why a lot of these professional athletes, they go broke. Because they were saying, I forgot where I heard this. They were like, it's not about, I forgot which NFL player was talking about this. He's like, it's not about the money that I make and taking care of like my mom, my dad, my brother. It's the neighborhood that I came out of. They want the house. Now that guy's brother wants a house. That brother, he wants a better situation. You can't just leave the ghetto and think that you don't own nothing back. That's what they always feel. So now they're taking care of like 15, 20 people. That was a cousin's cousin, a cousin of another cousin.
There's a way to support the community then.
Exactly.
So is a way to do that rather than just buying them the fish.
But a lot of people want that, right? They're like, you got the
That's
millions
so
of dollars. You remember when we didn't have a single thing to eat? Now take care of me in the process. And that money just keeps disappearing. They go on monthlies. They go on that.
They're on payroll. Like, what the fuck you on payroll? What have you done?
How many players have we heard that's happening? I know so
You know
many.
what's so crazy too though? I see so many NFL players are retiring at a young age now. There's
Marshawn Lynch.
Not even Marshawn Lynch and the linebacker from Miami. He just retired the other day. He's at the top of his game.
I know it's not Tyreek Hill because he has 17 kids on the way.
Yeah,
He has a new kid popping out every single. He has a new kid every single week.
yeah. Okay. No, but was going to do a full introduction, Craig. Now, like into the podcast as well. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's has a new kid. He has a wife. He has a wife.
Who? Tyreek?
Tyreek.
Yeah. He has.
And then he has 7. He has another baby mama that came out. And now, what's he up to? He's like the Nick Cannon of the NFL.
Isn't it? Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
He's an interesting being, but
But you were saying that a lot of the players are retiring younger
early.
now?
So like this started with first person that did it was actually that I seen him in the prime retire was Calvin Johnson. Dude, I think he would have broke all records there to be broken. Dude was 6'5", ran at 4'2".
Yeah,
I think
that's crazy.
late 4'2". I think 4'2'9". I think
How much did he weigh?
around at that time he was heavy. He was 230. A big boy like that running 229, 4'29".
Yeah.
Bro, and he retired when he was putting up numbers where he had like 1,800 yards, 100 plus receptions, 10 plus TDs. That's greatness. And then he retired. Why? He's like, why am I sacrificing my body for an organization that's not putting me in a winning mentality?
But you also got to think of from. So generally speaking, people are looking at that guy from our perspective. So as soon as you jump into his perspective, he's already done all the shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do the things, and he's got what 10 million in the bank, and he could probably monetize all the other things just by leaving. He doesn't need to play anymore.
Yeah.
So that's probably the perspective he's thinking. Well, I want to hang out with my family, my kids. I don't want to be all broken. I already got money.
Yeah, true.
I don't care about any of this.
That's true.
But
That's
like
true.
the weird thing is like say 10 million. Like 10 million to those guys doesn't seem like it's enough. Once they kind of get taking care of everybody, someone's gonna be reaching out and stuff like that. The cars, the lifestyle, the lifestyle they start living and stuff like that. It's like, who's the one football player that still just kept the same? Well, Shaq. Like I've spoken to Shaq in Vegas.
Yeah.
Shaq has nothing but franchises set up and stuff like that.
Papa John's, baby.
Papa John's. What's that burger place? Five Guys.
Five Guys.
Oh, so he's invested there.
Oh yeah, he invested right off the bat in his rookie career.
Oh no way.
So shoe
He's
line
invested
too.
into a lot of Gap.
The Uber guy even. What was the one where he overheard the conversation in a hotel lobby and he chased? I think it was Uber.
I forgot.
I think it was Uber. He chased. He was sitting in a hotel lobby.
Yeah.
And these
It
two
was a
guys
different one. I know what you're talking about. It wasn't Uber, but I know what
it
you're
was
talking
some
about.
like big app.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to invest in your app. I
Lyft?
overheard.
Was
him.
it Lyft?
I think it was recently.
One of those
it
ones.
was Lyft. I think it could have been. I know it wasn't Uber, but yeah. On that
But it
note,
was something, and he's like, I want a piece of that.
Exactly.
And he's like, here's my percent. Now he's making
business
money
wise,
off of that.
he's
Yeah.
so smart.
He's like, he's very smart. He knew what to do because he says it. He's like, I saw a lot of players around me completely go broke with millions and millions of dollars to their name and have nothing left of it. Allen Iverson's, stuff, right? Like, it all fell apart around them. So that's where Kobe was really good too. Went into the energy drink, went into the body armors and everything. And now he's not here, but his wife just sold it for how much? And now all the
It's
kids are
crazy,
set. The whole family's set, right? He took care of them.
And he still doesn't like their sponsorships and everything. His name will live on forever. It's engraved in the history.
Doesn't matter what podcast some guy launches and talks
Say
shit on
he's-
it. Doesn't matter if some childhood
selfish
person's like, listen,
asshole.
I'm gonna bring his name down because he was an asshole when he was a kid. No, he
Yeah.
wasn't.
I mean, it's kind of like a perfect, segue to introducing,
Yeah.
as such, man. You know, we've been discussing for a long time to having you get on a discussion with that, because man, you're inspirational. Like that ass, like even looking at your watch tan line, that just shows the dedication. It shows that people put that out. Just shows, it's just look at that, man.
Bro, like, a tan though.
I got a little upset. I was walking outside the other day without it on. I was just going for a walk. I was like, oh, I should have put it back on.
Man, it's fading. It's fading.
Keep it fresh.
But yeah, man, introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
I'm Such of Such in Motion, and I run a lot, and I raise money for veterans and first responders with mental health issues. So
cool.
that's kind of what I've been doing for the last 2-3 years, and yeah.
No, it's a beautiful segment. I think what we're kind of discussing even here today, like alongside myself, and Mark and Gurdarshan. I think that's the one thing we wanted to bring light to a lot was a lot of the stuff that you're doing, that whole mental aspect, the battle that we fight on a day-to-day life, not as an individual, also when it comes to community, and with all the traumatic experiences we have seen, and how we can kind of impact the people that are coming up, to kind of change that, and how to deal with that better. Because we have the platform to change that. We have this platform. We're doing it right now. And then even production, we were talking about it before with Gary. What's the one thing you said? How many messages you get?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it gets scary at this point. Like, like I started talking about kind of my mental health journey, or like, the issues, especially when I got to the highest level in MMA. I was like, now I'm here. And I'm like, I'm married. I'm like, I don't really have anything I feel ashamed of. I should talk about my depression that I've dealt with, my anxiety, and all these like crazy calls I've had with my own life and stuff. And then as positive, I guess, as the message was, my DM started flooding with guys that are like, dude, what do you do? I'm going to off myself. And I'm like, I got this crazy weight. It was actually one that I just answered like literally today. And the guy's just like, thank you for the message. Like, I didn't think I was going to make it. I'm like, that's a crazy thing all of a sudden to start carrying that, because I can't answer them all, right? In time or what's going on. I'm just like, dude, that's actually like, I never thought about it. I thought I was just kind of getting it out and be like, listen, you're not alone. But those people that do feel alone are not trying to get to me, reach out to me.
But I think it's a good thing, man. Like, I think it's really important that like guys like you, well, I mean, guys like anybody right?
Else.
That if they're dealing with something, just talk about it.
Yeah. Talk about it, but then there's individuals that are like, I need to talk to him directly.
Sure.
And then you can't get to it. And then say something does happen to one of these guys, and you're like, oh, shit, I didn't get to that message.
Yeah, but are you doing your best?
Exactly. I think that's what it comes down to.
But as an athlete, you always feel like you could do more. Right? As an athlete, like with the athlete mentality, you're always like, you can always do more. It's never enough.
But with that athlete mentality, you can take a step back, objectively look at the scenario and look at it carefully and be like, okay, did I do everything?
Right.
Did I miss something?
Yeah.
And the odds are you probably didn't miss anything. You just got to do better maybe next time, and you change the pattern and then you move forward. Right. I mean, that's kind of what I look, man. I agree with what you're saying. 100% that happens, and that's kind of been happening to me over the last 3 years. And I was kind of, I was going through like the same thing, man. How do you
balance all this?
How do you balance? Like, how do I even talk to this person? Like, I'm already kind of dealing.
How do you navigate this? Yeah.
How do I do it? And then it's so again, I would speak to another friend, and then speak to another guy. And then just getting a little guidance from these people who are a little bit older than me and how they manage things, various different professional. And it's usually the professional athletes that can kind of break it down in a way that I can kind of understand it. And also, I mean, when it comes to high performers, professional athletes are high performers. It doesn't matter what space they're in. They can go to any space and be a high performer because they know how to do it.
It's so true.
Right? Because they're disciplined. They know what to do. So, I looked at these guys, and then I got some guidance, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then started adopting it and then moving forward.
Yeah, like I totally agree with that. I like you're like, you assess it, you look at it, and you see. For me, it's just like, here you're dealing with a life, right? You're dealing with someone's life, right? Like for me, like kind of how you said it is how I assess my wins and losses in fighting, right? It's like, okay, where did we go wrong? How we get caught in that? What happened? Like almost every 3 training sessions a day, I'm assessing every single one after training to get better the next day, the 1% better. Totally get that. It just, when it's a life, there's no coming back. It's like, how can I go talk to that person now? The person no longer. So it's like like this weird, different kind of way.
It is.
Like,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's like so you never feel like it's enough. Hoping that it doesn't happen, right? Yeah. So I try my best.
But you know what? The fact that you have that thought process, I think that should put you at peace. Reason why I say that put you at peace, we never want to lose any life when it comes to stuff like that, because at the end of the day, as Such said, man, like them reaching out is just that itself, it takes such courage as individual to do, and the fact that, you know, I want people to do it more, because, you know, man, like at the end of the day, I spoke on this before too. No matter what person is, who you are, good, the evil, the bad, there's still goodness that's within you that's needed out there in the world. Whether it's impacting one person or not, like, or two or three or four, that's not you're not looking at the, you know, quantity wise. You're looking at whether you impacted that one person. Right. You make that difference. That's huge. So it's just whether you have that peace of mind. You know what? I tried everything I could. I wish I could have done something back. You know, tweaked a little thing as such said, but it's just having the balls to look yourself in the mirror, like, where have I gone wrong in life, or where have I gone in a situation, and reflecting on myself first, like, okay, what could I have done different in a situation, and then look back at it, like, oh, I resonate with what that person was saying, I was wrong. And when you have that mental state of mind to go through that process, man, I feel like there's nothing that can break you. It's just how you decipher life as you go on. And that's my biggest thing that I have learned. Don't point fingers, man. Go look at yourself in the mirror and put your finger on yourself. And then, like, and you know, it's funny that you know, your mentality is about, you know, that whole persona, like, kind of resonates to who? David Goggins. That's the first thing he says. He started what? He was working for Ecolab, killing roaches and stuff. He's like, I'm the only motherfucker that's lazy. I can't blame my mom. You know the story here how he talks about she was cooking me like pancakes, like 4 sausages, this, that. Like, he would have a meal in, like, during breakfast time for someone who had it throughout the day. And then he was wondering why he gained weight. But then guess what? He never said, oh, my mom didn't give me this. Oh, my dad wasn't around. He never said that. What did he do? He looked at himself in the mirror like, fuck that. He's like, I'm going to take the onus on myself to fix my life.
But whose responsibility is it?
It's yourself.
Right? Like, at the end of the day, after you're 18, whose job is it to do it? It's not my dad's, my mom's, nobody's. At the end of the day, it's yours. So, I mean, I observe things as much as I can. And I think, like, over the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, it seems like a lot of people, the younger generation, seems to be more of the victim kind of mindset.
100%.
It's like, oh, what am I owed, or what's this, what's that? And no one owes you shit. I used to think that, but I had to kind of, like, get my head out of that, because I wasn't getting anything anywhere, man. So as soon as you kind of own your shit and then take responsibility for everything, even if you don't think you should take it, take it. And
that's the only way to grow.
I mean, it's because then you don't have any excuses, man.
No, you don't.
Right? The excuses kind of go away. Look, okay, for fighting. You could make all the excuses, and the next time you're getting your ass kicked. Right? 100%. So you got to be like, I sucked there. I got to do that better. And you can do that in life.
Right? So, and, you know, like, kind of like expanding on that, a lot of the times when I tell people, like, I failed at a certain thing, or I didn't accomplish what I wanted to, I'm like, that wasn't for what you chose. Sometimes it is, like, you just oblivious to the facts, then you just do it anyways. That's different. But 9 out of 10 times, the reason why people fail is because their own undoing. There's no reason for you to not succeed in any field that's out there. As long as you have a right mindset, you have the right plan to put out there, and you follow it to the curve, and then you have the work ethic and the discipline to do it. What's the reasoning for not you to succeed? What's the reasoning?
Zero. Nothing.
No, exactly. None.
There's
none. You know, and then, like, we get in this, like, you know, moral dilemma. People say, be like, oh, you know, like, morally, like, I feel like I can't do this because, like, you know, my parents, like, especially in our community, I see this a lot. In our community, we tend to, I'll be my own example. I blame my parents for a long time. We're like, you guys didn't let me do what I wanted to do because, oh, you guys didn't think I was good enough. But in reality, I wasn't good enough for myself because I was looking down on myself that, man, I'm not good enough for this. I kept on comparing myself to people that my dad might would have been like, oh, look at what your cousin's doing. But I took that as him, like, comparison. But like, oh, he thinks he's better than me. Rather than me looking as a positive, I took it as a negative. Rather than me be like, you know what, Dad, like, fuck that. Like, you'll see one day, like, what I'm capable of, and I'll show you. Rather than feeling that myself as a motivation, I pitied myself. And I hated myself for it now. I wish I didn't pity myself. But, you know, those are the normal things we go through as men and women. Like, women is a little bit different perspective. We can't really speak on that. But as men, we go through these. I'm pretty sure you guys went through that same, you know, life.
And, you know, I'm really happy you guys are doing these podcasts and talking about this kind of stuff, especially for the younger generation in our community, right? Like it's really important that people are talking about this and how to function, how to navigate, how to deal with certain things. And yeah, man, I'm no different than you. I mean, I was the same way, man. My parents didn't let this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
right?
I think one of the biggest things is that in this generation right now, if you're challenging yourself for anything, so like say you want to run 60K every day, you want to become an MMA fighter, you want to do whatever, the thing is a straight trajectory up, right? Like there is no obstacles. And the day that your feet are sore, the day your calves are sore, is the day that I don't want to do it. The day you get punched in the face, you get dropped and your ribs are hurting, it's not the day I want to do it.
Yep.
And you have to come to realize that it's not like that, right? It's not like that. Like those are actually the days where I grow the most. And I'm sure those are the days that, like I doubt every day you wake up and you want to do it.
Bro,
right? I doubt every day.
I don't want to do it tomorrow.
Exactly, right? Like I doubt it, but you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But you're gonna do it,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. It's like, I know there's like, it's like, I know there's kids that I come across. They're like, dude, how do you make it to the biggest promotion? I'm like, there's a lot that goes into this, right? There's a lot. Don't think I've been doing this for 15 years, and every day I've lived my passion with the vision that I had of where I wanted to take it. And don't tell me that my vision didn't get tested so many days. Days when I had $10 in my pocket in Montreal. Days when I thought everything was good here. I packed up my bags, moved to Montreal, living off of a medium pizza for a week. That was one slice a day as my food. Training with the best fighters in the world.
This is what we need to be talking about.
And sharing the gym with some of the best guys, from the George St. Pierre's to everything. But them not knowing when I walk out, I'm 3 months behind my rent. Yeah. I can't pay that. If I can just come back here and get my 9 to 5 back, all that will go away. But then I give up my dream in the process. Yeah. Okay, from that, let me figure that out. Let me start doing little private with French-speaking people because I don't speak French. But let me figure it out. Okay, let me live off of $60 a week now because I'm getting one private a week. He's willing to do it. Okay, let me figure that out. Moving back here, doing a reality show, winning that, moving to Singapore or fighting in Singapore, coming back, and like none of it was straight up. Yeah. None of it straight up. There was a lot of false promises. There was a lot of bullshit sponsorship. There's a lot of people that stab you in the back. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of times when they were like, dude, you can't take another concussion or you may not even breathe tomorrow. There's a lot of those days, right? None of it was like, parents weren't supportive at the start. Now parents are the biggest fans. Community wasn't supportive at the start because they thought it was a gang mentality sport. When I started, MMA was banned in Vancouver. Yeah, didn't stop me, right? So it's like none of it. Like when like if people think it's a straight trajectory up, right? And then once they're faced with obstacles, like shit, this is kind of hard. I don't want to do it, right?
You said something very important at the very beginning of what you were talking about there, and I think that's what allowed you to continue doing it, and that's passion.
Passion and the vision.
The vision comes as the roadmap.
Right. It's the roadmap, yeah.
Right? But the passion is the energy that allows you to continue going when you get knocked down every single day. Yeah. So if you don't have the passion, like if I'm not passionate about accounting. So if I'm going to university, I'm going to be like, fuck this, man. I'm not going to study.
I was an accountant. I wasn't passionate about it.
But for me, I'm like, I'm not studying, man. I'm good. Yeah. But like, if you give me something I want to do and I'm excited and I'm passionate, well, I'll probably do just about anything.
That's literally what made me give up accounting is when I stepped in an MMA gym. It was the hardest thing I did in my life. I had an asthma attack. I was dealing with asthma my whole life. But I'm like, dude, I've never felt this way. I've never felt this way. But then the passion, when it comes down to the passion, it's like the passion has to rise from something, right? And this is where I always say, like, the motive behind what you're doing. So there was a fighter that just fought last night. I just saw this clip. It's going viral right now. And he's like, I've been heartbroken so much. These girls keep breaking my heart. That's why I'm in here. I'm like, eventually girls are going to stop breaking your heart. Eventually, if that's your passion, it's going to die. Because where's your motivation after that? It's exactly like, it's a very temporary kind of passion. If that's what you're attaching your whole MMA identity to, is you're trying to get over heartbreaks. Eventually, some girl's going to come along. That's not going to break your heart. Now you're not going to want to train. Now, but if you have passion, like, you have a representation of what you're trying to represent. For me, it was to represent my community in a way to represent the underdog. I wasn't doing it for no girl. I wasn't doing it to get into nightclubs. I wasn't doing it to be popular. So represent a segment of my community that all we were taught was to be warriors, but I never saw a single warrior in an MMA cage. And I was this overweight kid. It's like, why can't I be that guy? And that's what I made a vision board. I attached it on my wall and I stared at it every day. Didn't know what the hell a vision board was. Saw Will Smith talk about it on like some segment he did 25 years ago. And I'm like, I'm just going to print out some pictures, believe that I can live them. I've lived every single part of it.
That's awesome.
But the craziest, but the times when I realized the thing was tested was those times when I had everything going against me.
So sorry, I didn't
no,
to interrupt.
No, it's when I had everything. When I always kept my bag packed next to the door in Montreal, because there were so many times I picked it up and I was 2 flights down. I'm like, I'm catching a flight to go home. I'm done with this. Like, I'm done with it. I can't do it anymore.
Get my life back.
Right?
So you basically just said, okay, you identified the passion part, and then you identified the purpose. So those are
the two powerful things, and that's where the passion.
And the third thing is the velocity in which you want to get to achieve the thing.
100%.
That's it, and then you're done.
And then
that gets underestimated actually a lot. The velocity of like the attitude you have towards what you have set for you. Because I think one thing that I think Gary, you kind of hit on the head is like, what driven you was the purpose that's greater than you.
I think that's always way, and I'm sure for you it's a
lot of the
purpose
time,
greater than
and
you.
then such. This is something we want to get with you, like even what you're doing right now, like running every day for 60 kilometers, man. That shit is.
It's a purpose greater than you.
I died doing 10-kilometer run for cure for breast cancer. I died. I think I'm trying to beat a certain minute, but thing is like I'm stubborn enough to like to do certain thing. If I know even if I know I'm not the best shape, I know myself. Yeah. I'll die before saying quit. Yeah. If someone I remember my cousin told me, he's like, you can't do 45 minutes within like you can't do 10 kilometers in 45 minutes. I was out of shape at the time. I was like, cardio wasn't it. I'm like, that's easy. That's easy.
It's pretty good time if you.
So like the competitive person in me, but back then like what I meant was out of shape was like I was like that skinny kid, but like I used to do triathlon in junior high, even high school. So I used to do that. I'm like, that shit's easy. I'm like, I know I haven't done it in a while. Yeah. I know because like so my cousin actually he drove on a bike from North Africa all the way down to south on a bike.
That's gangster.
4-month journey. All I saw was on Snap for 4 months, banded it up. Elbows, legs, feet, everything just like blisters all over.
Awesome, man.
But he did it for a greater purpose than you, so he felt confident when he's coming back. I'm like, listen, I know you feel good right now. Yeah. I'm a stubborn motherfucker. You're not gonna beat me. I'm gonna tell you right now. But then again, he said you gotta find that inner will, and that's the one thing that you have. I feel like honed in on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, you gotta hit. You were talking about it earlier, right? Like, you gotta find that spark, right?
Yeah.
And that happened for me probably like 3.5, 4 years ago. I was just, doing whatever, working my job, doing the things, and then life kicked me in the ass for a bit, and then I had to reevaluate things, right. And then from there I just started over from scratch. Right. And I'll be 47 next year, so I started running 3 years ago. I hadn't ran 5K since high school. That was the last time I ran. And I was doing bodybuilding. I did jiu-jitsu, but I wasn't really running. I was doing jiu-jitsu, right? It's like I'm rolling, right? Yeah. But so I was like, shit, man, hungry. And this was during the pandemic, right? So I'm going through a divorce. Pandemic's kicking on, and law enforcement, 18 years. So I'm dealing with like stuff at work that was starting to bother me. All these things all at the same time started happening, and then I ended up dealing with some major depressive episodes. So I had to deal with some major depression and anxiety, and then went to see a doctor, did all that, and then I was like, okay, man, I'm in a basement suite now, kind of starting from scratch. What the fuck am I going to do? Yeah. Like, I'm screwed, right? And I'm sitting at home for 2 weeks at a time because the work scheduling was shifting because of the pandemic. So it was just all weird, right? So I was like, okay. So I just started reading some books and just watching some podcasts, cracked open the first page of the Goggins book, and I read 2 chapters and I put it down. And I was like, okay, looks like I'm starting to run. Because I hadn't ran since high school, and I was like, this is hard. And he's talking about do hard things. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let me go for a run. Terrible, man. Like I scheduled myself to do 3 5Ks a week, and I was running them for like, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes. Like it was. You're talking about doing a 10K and 45, right? So it was like terrible.
Usain Bolt. Usain Singh over here.
but like you said, the stubborn part, and I was at the time I was pretty angry, and I used a lot of toxic energy as fuel. Yep. So it fueled me pretty good, and I just kind of kept grinding, and then I was like, okay. And I always try to like set a standard as much as I can, keep pushing the envelope, right? So I started running. Within about 3-4 months, I was like, okay, let me see if I can run 21K, right? And just came home one day, just went out, ran for about 3 hours.
That's crazy.
And then, but I was in pain, man. My foot was swollen up and all the things. But those are things that kind of help you understand that you're doing what you kind of should be doing. Right?
Those are calluses.
And then I kept doing it. And then I think it was probably like 9 months into it, I was able to get to like running about 10K a day. And then
this shit's not bad.
but look what really fueled it. It was being in a negative place, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. It's like a lot of us.
So what you decide, right?
Yeah, a lot of people want this perfect life and they want a perfect thing, but I never see anybody great come out of it, right? But then you got somebody that's angry, going through a relationship situation, COVID's hitting, in depression, and finds and uses all that toxic energy and remixes that old thing to become who he is today. Yeah. Right. So like, it's like, I think some of the greatest people come from situations like almost every great person I can think of came from a situation. I can't think of anybody that was given everything that ever became great. Ever became anything really.
Well, for me, I don't know if I personally, for me, I don't like using the word great.
Great. Yeah.
Right.
Just for me, I like to use the word excellent. Or excellence, because it has a little bit different connotation to it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas greatness, like I think, if I were to say I want to be great, man, it just sounds shitty. Yeah. Like, it sounds arrogant, right? Gotcha. And so I don't like saying that. I like to say I'm just chasing excellence, man. I'm trying to be the best version of myself.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then that also encourages other people, right? Because then if I'm saying, oh, I'm great, what are you? Like it's kind of diminishes somebody else. Because the reality is anybody can be a Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. So I don't put anyone on a pedestal anymore. Yeah. The only reason why is because I've achieved something in 2.5 years that I never thought in a million years I could do. Right. And the reality is next year I'll run across the country and be the first person of color to do it. And then also maybe break the record for the fastest run, which is fucking crazy.
It is, bro.
Right? Like for me, just saying, like,
and look where it started from.
But where it started from, but the reality is anybody can. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like I was doing whatever, man.
It's the first hurdle. That's the first
hurdle. It's like,
what kind of work do you want to put in? How much effort? Like, so when people, what you're saying, not linear, man. I'm in a basement suite, barely getting by, paying my bills, barely, but I'm happier than I've been when I was making money. Because I'm doing something. I'm doing real seva, like real, right? Meaningful seva. I'm getting to be a better person every day. And I'm getting to meet some awesome people all the time.
Yeah.
You gave your life purpose.
That's key.
Yeah.
You gave it purpose. Once you find purpose, it's like, like at the end of the day, you're happy when you go to bed every night. Right? You're happy when you go to bed.
Totally.
And that kind of ties down into our community, man. The thing is, like, man, the amount of houses that myself, everybody else, everybody can resonate this. We don't have this right here. We don't have it. It's a dead end communication. It's a dead end.
Yeah.
There is no communication.
There isn't.
A lot of the time I've seen whether, even with my dad, even with like other parents and whatnot, with their kids and the impact they have when it comes to like having these open-end discussions, it's like almost frowned upon. And I don't get why. I'm like, Dad, if I come to you and I have an open-end discussion rather than you saying I can't change, don't you think it's better me coming to you saying like, Dad, like this is what I think we can fix on, rather than sitting on the pedestal, be like, no, this is something that we can't change. This is who we been. Don't you think that's better for you to kind of meet me halfway and have these talks with me, rather than sitting on the pedestal, be like, I can't change. I'm too old now. Why can't we have that talk? Why can't we sit down in a family setting? I don't know. Last time I had a genuine heart-to-heart conversation with my dad, as sad as I sound.
Oh, I know.
Why not?
I can.
Yeah.
I have tried. I've tried on my side, but I'm like, Dad, listen, I'm like, you got to change with me. We live in a different world. I get it, what you guys grew up. I would never knock you for the life you guys have lived and what you guys have gave me. I'm forever grateful. The fact that I'm sitting in this position right now to have this discussion is a blessing in itself. But now we got to how do we improve from this? As you said, there always got to be that stepping stone. How do we get better?
Yeah.
Well, we're doing it right here, man.
I think one of the weird things for me that I'm noticing is as I'm getting older, I'm going through the transitions of my life, like, going from MMA, going into family and everything. My dad's life is starting to make sense to me. The way my dad is starting to make sense with ever talking to me, I'm starting to make sense of. It's not like I'm trying to, and there's certain things that I'm trying to break the generational curses, I guess we can say, right? But I understand why he is the way, he reacts the way, because I'm slowly going through those things. I'm slowly kind of like, now it's like, how do I take care of my family? Oh shit, are the bills paid? Is this paid? Is this taken care of? Before it was just when you're a 24-year-old kid, okay, well, I'm going to have a piece of chicken breast and rice and go train and go do jiu-jitsu. Okay, I'm going to watch some UFC video. I'm going to go to bed. Wow, life is great. I'm going to go to the beach by myself. I'm going to go meditate. Don't have a girlfriend, doesn't matter. I'm happy with myself. Those times are not what they are right now for me now, right? Married, have bills, have this, have that. now I see, like, you know, because men, you deal with a lot of stuff within yourself without trying to show too much, like, you know, what's considered weakness, but it's not.
But that's the thing, though, Gary. Like,
yeah,
I'm telling you, man, I've seen it personally. I've seen it with my whole, like, cousins and whatnot. I've seen parents that, like, especially on the dad side, they take on that commitment without actually opening up to the partner about it. I'm learning now, like, I'm in a relationship now. That person has taught me so much more, like, in the, like, last year than I have learned in the last 20 years when it comes to relationship-wise. That changed my perspective of how she's like, you don't fucking communicate. I'm not a wizard. I don't know what you're thinking in your head.
Yeah.
If you tell me something and if it's not the right response that you're looking for, that means I'm not for you. They're like, don't be scared to say what's on your mind. If I love you for who you are, I will work with you, whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally. But you got to keep me in that loop. And I looked at him like, fuck. I'm like, you're right.
It's true, man.
We were just never taught, but now we know we can have these discussions.
It's a lack of, it's in the culture, right? The culture doesn't kind of
allow you to think that's normal.
Yeah.
But then there's like, you know, like, I understand sadness and anger, and, like, you know, there are emotions that you can kind of describe and you can talk about. Yeah. But I'm sure you can resonate with this. When you're going through a depressive episode, you don't even know what the hell's going on. You're stuck in this void. You're stuck in this darkness. Stuck in this cloud. Like, I'll be looking at my wife and she'll be like, "Dude, just what's wrong? Everything's great. Just tell me. We'll be on vacation. We'll be in Dubai." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm stuck. Like, I'm in a room in my head and I can't get out. And I understand everything is great around me, but I don't know how to get out of this, and I don't know what I'm feeling, because there is no emotion you're feeling at that time. You're feeling numb.
Do you find it's like that the feeling of it's like it's not enough?
I don't know what it. For me, I honestly think it's just a chemical thing. Like, honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with the external situations whatsoever. Really? I can be in the happiest place. I can be in the happiest place. Like, there was a time when I really realized what depression really was in my head. Yeah. At home, I was just, like, kind of caught in my head. Then I went to White Rock and I rented a kayak, and I paddled into the middle of the ocean. I looked back at the shore, and I'm still depressed. Like, wait a second, like, what did I think was gonna happen? I was gonna leave my brain on shore and I was gonna get away from it. It came with me. I'm like, and now I'm depressed sitting in this kayak in the middle of the ocean. It's here. It's not like I'm not getting away from anything. It's here. It's up here, right? And it's like one of those things. It's like I still don't know how to communicate that properly, because even I don't know, and like, especially when you're on antidepressants, it's even more different. You're even more numb. You feel even more heavier. The way I always described it to people, it was the only way. It was like, for me, it was like, you know, when you have a hole in your roof and you just cover it with a tarp, right? You're like, I know the hole's still underneath there, but we're just going to cover it with a tarp right now. That's kind of why antidepressants are, right? Eventually, the wind's going to come away and tear that tarp away, and you're going to realize that hole was still there. It never got sealed up. It's not there. There's more shit that probably leaked through it at this point, right? And, like, it's still, like, when you're going through, like, I understand, like, anger, like, you know, say you're sad or something like that. Say you're, like, you know, financially stressed. Yes, you need to communicate things. And those are things I'm learning too. But one thing I've never figured out still is, because my wife is a very happy go person, and everything in the house can be put together, and then I could be just lost in a void. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think that's just the way some people are. Yeah. Right. And it's figuring out how to manage those moments the best we can, right? So, for example, like going into the ocean, that's one way to kind of manage it. You know, you're out in the ocean, beautiful area, you get to observe and be in the moment, and take it all in. But for me, it was more like I felt more of a like disillusionment. Like, what's the point? Why? What's the point of
totally
anything?
100%? Yeah.
So that's kind of how I would be thinking about things, and so that's where purpose really comes in.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So, like, for me, without the purpose, and maybe that's part of why the velocity is so high for me, is because I mean, I need it.
And even like with Mook, like even him, like his whole purpose, like even getting into his sports agency. How many people that are not like that have the Star or Pug or whatever that are in, especially in the Canadian market? Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, that came for your own passion that you have, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, I've done athletics before turf. You know, we always working on the turf. We worked out before coming to Van. Like, that was my own space of freedom, right? It's just the same thing when you're going to lake and stuff like that. Turf is my thing. But at the same time, it's just like I'm always restless. It's like constant thinking about like, okay, I want to pursue this, for me to even shut off, I can't shut off. Like if I go out, like we go out or something, I can't shut off. Like it's very tough for me to have fun.
Like what do you mean shut off? Like you're always thinking about business.
I'm always thinking about business because
like that too.
maybe
I've been looking at stock charts this whole time.
Yeah.
Sitting here this whole time.
But the thing is, like,
yeah,
because it's really
dingers are coming.
yeah.
in.
I've been like,
it's really tough for people to connect with me, right? Because they're like, "Look, you're so serious." I'm like, I'm not serious. I have just shit on my mind that I have to deal with, and I think my mind's never gonna shut off till I complete it.
Are you in a relationship?
No.
Okay, yeah. Wait till you get in a relationship. That'll get definitely.
That'll be,
you're never in the moment. You're never.
That's a later. That's a
in
later
the
problem.
moment. I'm like, I'm here. I'm thinking about the next moment, but I know I should be here in this moment right now.
So it's
Man, I
just,
tell you the truth, though, like I'm genuinely mean this, and I think everybody can attest to this. Everybody watching, communication portal will relieve you a lot of the stuff that we're going through, and two, just having someone that really ride and die with you, person that really trusts you and has faith in you, goes a long way in that healing process. Obviously, it's not another person to, make you go through that process. It's not. It's always on you. It's never going to be, on another person. Be like, no, you have came and helped me. What the fuck? What the fuck does that mean?
yeah.
No.
You just when people say that, they're just sucking the good out of you to attain the happiness within. And you know what you do alongside with that? That person that had the good in them, they don't have that no more.
Here's the thing, though. Like, we can have this conversation because we're man to man, right?
Yeah.
Having that conversation with a woman, it's a little more difficult, right? Because at the same time, you're this figure in this household, you're a figure in this relationship.
You think it's
because
because
you're
it's
masculine.
deemed weak?
It's deemed as weak because if in a sense, it demasculines you.
Yeah.
Right? Because
But don't you
emotion
think that's a
itself.
weakness, though, in our households, then? Because that's a weakness itself. Not being able to articulate yourself in a household where you think something is a weakness, but it's not. Is you expressing your emotions in a household.
Maybe it's just, I think
that's
maybe
a
it's just a
strength.
viewpoint of how we view ourselves that we think that a woman would see us as if we do share emotions.
But thing is, then if that woman sees you as less of a man, that woman is not ready for a
it
relationship.
should be kind of irrelevant what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
I think, and look, man, I relate to what you're saying because I've felt that many times. And I think over the last little while, at least for me, building self-belief and confidence in myself allows me not to give a shit about what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
like, say, for example, I don't care. I can cry right here, right now. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm good with who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it probably starts from there, being good with who you are, confident with who you are, in any environment. And then
Environment is key. You know what? Environment is key. You know why I say that? What's in our community that we see a lot, especially in our Punjabi culture? When the emotions flow out?
Yeah.
Bro,
Everyone's hugging and kissing you.
bro, it's like
The most quiet guy is the guy that I love you, bro.
Yo,
This shit was
for real
happening
though.
last week.
But take that in. They have to be in a mind where, like, the intoxicated mind where they can speak
Where it
freely.
all comes out,
How
yeah.
fucked is that?
It is.
Why are we pushing ourselves to a corner when we know? I tell people, I'm like, man, like, we're not perfect. We all know that. No one's perfect. Ain't no one perfect. As you said, we're trying to achieve, like, the excellence every day. We're trying to achieve that. There's a lot of shit that I don't know. I reach out. Like Craig, man, one of the most genuine person I've met. I'm glad I came across him. I'm not even bullshitting, man. Like, I randomly call him, like, bro, I wanna do this. I wanna do that. Like, what do you think? He's like, bro, let me know. I'm here to help. He's like, I love to help people.
that's
And
awesome.
I'm like, he doesn't have to say that to me. He'd be like, man, fuck off. I ain't got time for this shit. No, for real though. He can say that. He'd be
That's
like,
true.
I don't got
That's
time
true.
for this, man. Like kick rocks. Do your own thing. I got
But there's
shit
very
going
few
on.
people who would. though.
Yeah, but like thing is, like, we just gotta have that ability to reach out.
Yeah.
People are out here not to get you, but in our community, that mindset is weird.
Yeah.
It's that we think people are out to get us, but then again, our community is wired different too. Like from an old age, like a lot of people can resonate. The South Asian community, a little bit Middle Eastern, the mindset is a little bit. I mean, it is a little bit the same, because like it resonates throughout the whole region,
Yeah.
But again, that changes here. What we doing? It changes here. It starts now. We can't have these broken houses where the kids can't have a connection with the dad. They can't sit down in a room for 5 minutes, or they come home, they're scared because, oh, dad's drunk. I can't have a talk with him. Oh, he's going to say something. That's not a household. Is that not a healthy household? How do you think that kid perceives what a family is? And now everybody talks about how the divorce rates are. No shit. You're living in a broken house where your dad can articulate yourself properly in a manner where you feel like, oh, my emotion can flow free here, and knowing that I have a safe space, and my dad has a safe space. Your dad feels like he's caving in and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So now he's breathing heavier.
Yeah.
That light looks like it's never going to come. And it's only getting deeper and deeper. That hole keeps digging. and keeps digging and keeps digging. And as you get to the age of 60s and 70s, you can't bear that shit no more, and we see it. You know, and then that's the one thing we got to change in the community, man. And you know, like we kind of like go spinning off, like, you know, we've been talking about these serious topics, spinning off of it, right? Even take that in for, like, you know, what's happening like in the current news. We're talking about Diljit and stuff, right? Yeah. Our community is like so quick to like judge. No. Grab on these like drama that entices people to say something fucked up. Yeah. But like, oh, we can't wait to see what Diljit says. Or like Manpreet 2 sitting in the corner. I want to see what Diljit says to this. You're not paying your dancers. What the fuck? You're fucked up. Like, you're treating our dancing community wrong. But you know, everybody has their own different opinion. Did she ever reach out to the dancing community? But like, hey guys, like, what happened? Did she do that?
I don't even know.
No,
we don't know.
Did she? No. Did she do that? No. I know the people who performed there. Did she do that? Nope. Went on platform, blew them up. Do better, Diljit. You're a bad human being.
See, that's victim mentality, right? Yeah. So what did you do to make that happen? Did you have that proper communication? Did you have a contract before you did anything? Did you do any
exactly?
And he doesn't even know the story.
No. So if the Manpreet tour girl comes out tomorrow, be like, hey, I spoke with the Bhangra team, and then they said, hey, we asked him for the compensation. Diljit said no, and so we just did it for the experience. But what the Bhangra team, what they came out and they said, we stand together. The reason why we knowingly went through it, because we knew we weren't getting paid. But we did it for the experience and just to be out on a platform with.
Yeah, of course.
It's in the history books.
Of course.
Your name is written there. But that a person that comes along that's watching it is just bashing another person's name without even. She could have reached out to the team. They have access to this. She's up there.
What do you think's gonna happen? Do you think
they're doing it for the clicks and the views?
No, but my point is this: some small-time Bhangra team is chirping Diljit Dosanjh, who's freaking everybody knows who he is. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
You're trying to write off that,
right?
Yeah, you're trying to write off of that.
You're screwing yourself because now you're not going to get any gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Just, you know, do what you should do. You're starting from the bottom.
And that's the thing, though, too. It's like our people need to understand that one mistake that we have, it's not accumulative of who we are as a person. We all make mistakes, but don't let that mistake resonate who I am. If I do 100 good, don't just focus on that one thing I do bad.
Well, that's human nature, I think, right? Like, that's always going to be.
It's always a competition.
It's always human nature on that. Yeah. It's like, you know, you can do 100 good things for somebody, but they're always going to remember the one shit. But like, what's the point?
Imagine like tomorrow, right? Let's say I know such now. I'm like, yo, he's doing a lot of good things. Some random person that comes in, like the Kobe's asshole friend, right? Comes in, the asshole friend that comes in, and he says, man, such is an asshole. Oh,
bro, there's gonna be a lot of people saying that.
Yeah, don't think about it.
There's a lot of people.
But like, why bring that someone down? There's someone that's putting good out the world. If you want to have a dialogue with that person, go talk to them. But like, hey, like, I want to have a talk because like, bro, like something ain't saying right with me. But going on in a platform where you know you have a say and you know it has your audience has an impact or the way they view that person. Why go through that? Why put that negative energy out there and bring that person down when you can elevate that person? Be like, this is a learning lesson. I want to sit down and see how we can do different going forward. But no, you want to sit there for clicks, like do better and all this shit. Like, come on, man, what we doing?
It's just how the world is now, man.
No, what we doing? Like, for real, what we doing? You know?
Yeah, all I know is that the rest of the dancers are going to get paid now. When they go to UK, Australia, next, like, everyone's getting paid now.
Definitely getting that dough, man.
I know, now he's going on the tour.
I almost think they shouldn't now. Because now you've made the victim mentality proper. Right? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like when you're starting a job.
Yeah.
I mean, when your first fights, how much you get paid?
Nothing.
Right?
Like for my first 15 fights, I made nothing.
So you
I paid money to fight.
You kind of have to pay your
build
dues.
Yourself. Yeah.
You got to pay your dues. Yeah. You got to get in the game and play the game and all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, just like any job, when you start, you're not the CEO.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
You do,
right?
Yeah. Like for me, like I was trying to see it. Like I always, whenever I see anything, even in my own household, I try to see both sides of the story, right? Like I totally agree with that, all of it. I think one thing that maybe Diljit could have done was, as like you know, he's not.
I get what you're saying.
Like he's not paying them, but do like a quick testimonial video for the dance team, right? Because that blows up their dance school now. Like these guys were the backup dancer for Diljit. I'm sending my kids there. Now you're helping the business. Right, it's great that they got experience. They can say it. They can tell their friends, "We were the guys." Right, but how often are you really looking at the backup dancers?
100%. That makes a ton of sense. Right? But I think that's the responsibility of the Bhangra team.
That's the responsibility of the Bhangra team to know your
hey,
value.
would you be able to
do
this for us, please? This, that, and the other.
Because I used to
he's
be
not going to randomly say, "Oh, can I do this for you?" No, he's not going to do that.
There's so much shit going on.
Yeah, like when I would be like when I'd be meeting like sponsors that I just saw on TV, and they're like, "Dude, can you wear stuff?" And I'd be like, dude, I'd be happy if they just gave me stuff. I never asked for money, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd go talk to another fighter. It's like, dude, they gave me like 3 Gs. I'm like, shit, I didn't even ask. Because I didn't know my value. I didn't know that. I thought I was just lucky to even be in the room with these guys and that they even thought of me.
How did you find your value? How did you figure that out?
How did you do that? Yeah.
I think it's an ongoing thing, honestly. I still think at times I devalue myself for certain situations, like, to have certain access to certain platforms and stuff like that. I still don't think I get my full value, but now I think because I got to put bread on the table for not just me anymore. It's not just about me. So everything has to mean something.
It's an attention. It's with an attention.
Everything has to mean something at this point. If you're taking me away from my family or somebody like that, it has to have some sort of value to it. There's still a lot of things like, I'll go do talks at schools and stuff, and I don't need your money. I'm just happy to make the influence. But I know there's other people that are like, dude, they paid me 5 Gs to go. I'm like, what? They gave you $5,000 and come talk for 30 minutes? I'm like, I've been doing it every year. And I'm making presentations at home, didn't give a shit.
I respect that, man, because you're paying your dues, because that's a different game, right?
Yeah.
So you're not fighting anymore. Now you're stepping into a different space. So you have to actually learn how to do that and get excellent at that.
Exactly.
So that takes time. That takes reps, and that takes
for me, it was about 15 fights till my first pro fight. My first pro fight, I got $500.
And that was probably pretty awesome when you got it.
But my camp alone was 3 Gs, right? So it's like it wasn't until so I've been fighting for 15 years. It wasn't until literally the last 5 years, so 10 years of paying dues, and we're talking crazy. Food and traveling, coaches, their percentages, management percentages. Where up until 5 years, when I made it to the highest level fighting in Singapore and stuff like that, when it finally was like, okay, and now we're kind of making something. Who knows if I actually go back to the actual books? Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Well, I'm happy you said that, right? Because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people listening to this that are like, oh, I want to make it this time or that or whatever. Yeah. The reality is, to be excellent at anything, it takes 10 years.
And it
takes a lot of time. It takes time.
Yeah.
Right? So now, if you're opening up a business, what's the saying? To turn a profit, it takes about 5.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So you're not getting anything within 5 to 10 years.
And I've spoken to people like that, and they're like, dude, you're telling me I'm not going to make money for 5 years? I'm not doing it. I'll just
go. Then no passion.
Welcome to reality.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you'll have some of these like dropshipper Shopify stores and stuff like that, and I'll talk to these guys, and they're like, dude, like, how quick can you make profit? I'm like, I don't know, man. Might take you a year. You might have to drop 5-6 Gs on ad revenue and stuff like that, and still doesn't. But you got to take that chance. Like, nah, if it's not a sure thing, I'm probably not going to do it.
Then
nothing's a sure thing, man.
Being a
only thing that's sure is 9 to 5.
Not for you.
Yeah, it's not for you.
Being an entrepreneur is not for you.
It's not for everybody, and that's I think a lot of
people,
right
in that moment for them.
Exactly. For them, I think people have to understand where you are, because like, it's okay to be like, an A1 and an AB to a ball. You can't have that mentality. Sometimes you're not built for that yet. That doesn't mean you can't work yourself up to it. As such said, you work yourself up to that point where you feel like, okay, I can delegate all this stuff as a business owner. I feel a lot of the time I felt the pressure when I got into business early age. Only reason why I did it at first was like, because my parents, I wanted to make my dad proud. I'm like, and I knew what I was capable of, so I did it. And, God willing, we're here today, succeeded at it. But that comes from what? Knowing the deficiencies I had and being willing to learn. And as you said, today people are willing to like quit that easy. I tell people, they're like, oh shit, like, how is he owning a business? I'm like, bro, from 23 to 26, I was MIA, middle of a fucking in a small town, Lloydminster. Population is maybe 20,000. You probably know about it. 20,000 people. Yeah. I was gone for 3 years. I didn't think about life for like, man, I'm missing out on parties. My friends are like, yo, where you at? Then in Lloyd, they're like, oh shit, like all good. They forget about you and all that, right? But I never, my mind never came to be like, I'm missing out on parties. Fuck the parties. If I'm by my 30s and mid 30s, I'm getting to a point where like, I see all this stuff that I put forth is coming back to me. That's the greatest accomplishment I can have. And thinking back to I missed a party where, bro, it was good.
Yeah, no, that's.
I think it's fear though. A fear, like how, like you're afraid of like you were saying, you want to make your dad proud.
Yeah.
right? Nowadays, like people, they run away. They're like, oh, I could do it later on, right? Career wise, I can fix it late. I can work on that later. Let me enjoy my life now. Enjoy my 20s.
Yeah.
Right.
That passion turns though. It turns from at first, as you said, it fuels from something, and then it turns into your own personal journey.
Because what I recognize for me with that toxic energy, I couldn't hold it, and if I held it, I would become toxic for people around me. Right? Like you don't want to be around me when I'm like that. Most people don't.
No.
So you almost kind of have to, put a lid on that, or find a way to change that energy to more of a positive thing. For me, it took a bit of time. Because if you stay in that toxic state, man, no.
There's some people that never find their outlet. Right, like you found it through running. I found it through MMA. I always think back. Sometimes I'm sitting on the gym like, who the hell would I be if I didn't have this to get this out?
Yeah.
Who the hell would I be? Like what? How? Like I couldn't even imagine not MMA, mixed martial art, jiu-jitsu, everything not being part of my life. I'm like, even when I'm retired, I'll probably be in the gym every day doing this. It's the only way I can see my life running. Like first thing I do, wake up every day. I've done for the past 15 years is empty stomach, go train, to have my first meal at 1 o'clock, and I've done it for 15 years. I don't know anything else to do first thing in the morning. My wife has anything planned, I'm like, we do it after. I'm like, first thing I do, you stay in bed, and I'm going to go do my routine. That's my routine.
And you don't have to change it, man. That's if it works for you, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. Beautiful.
And it's like, that's, but I'm happy that I was able to find a place to put that energy, just like you were able to find.
Yeah, man.
And
I don't think, I wouldn't be here if I didn't start running.
One thing that I wanted to ask you was, okay, so knowing that we were going to do this with you, I was doing I was trying to do 5K. I went to a track yesterday. I just wanted but I wanted, what are you thinking about during those kilometers? I'm
the thought process comes, just quit. But just stop.
But there's so much shit you can review about everything. Like I can have conversations with some alien. I can there's a lot of time. Yeah, dude,
my man's in a different stratosphere.
No, I'm telling you, I'm
I'm
within my own.
I think about a lot of things. I think about
obviously self-reflection during that point.
It's all self-reflection.
It's all self-reflection, right?
What I did yesterday, reflecting on all the people I interacted with, maybe thinking about, okay, what did I do? How did I do it? Can I do it better?
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking about, okay, how am I going to do? There's so much involved with figuring out how to run across Canada next year besides training. Right. Because I got to figure out how I'm going to basically fund the whole thing. Right. And if
Are you planning this while you're running?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Are you listening to music while you're doing this, or you're
sometimes I do. Music? Sometimes I do. So
just sometimes you do?
Yeah, it just depends what I feel. So so there was a time when I couldn't train, go to the gym or run or anything without music. Yeah. And then I was like, fuck that, man. I got to figure this out.
I remember Goggins used to be like,
I actually don't. I don't listen to music
either. So for me, I had to figure out a way to do that. So I just said, okay, the next 2 or 3 months, I'm on the treadmill for 2 hours without headphones. And then now I can whatever.
It's actually, I find that more peaceful than having music blast. I had last year, I don't use in the gym, everything. Even when I play basketball by myself, I love listening to the ball bounce rather than some rap music blasting.
Everyone's different, right? For me, if I'm outside, sometimes I don't mind not having my headphones on because if I'm on the trails, I can hear the birds, I can hear this, I can hear that, and if I live in White Rock, right? So if I'm by the beach, I can hear the water, all that stuff, right? The
birds chirping and all that, yeah.
If I'm listening, but if I'm doing what I'm doing now, I listen to music because that's 7.5 hours a day, right? So and then last year when I was running across the province, I was listening to a lot of music. So then so I'd listen to pretty much mostly music that would kind of Nosrat. I'd listen to a lot of Nosrat when I was running, just to kind of keep me in a certain mood and certain sort of beat.
For me, I don't need lyrical stuff, but I'm a very vision, I like to create visions, finishes and fights or walkouts.
It's a different thing, right?
So for me, I have soundtracks. I'm a big Hans Zimmer guy. I'm a big, I go to movies based on who made the score. I'm a big, if Hans Zimmer is behind the thing, I'm there. That's why Interstellar, Inception, everything. And those same things, that's all I'm listening to. So I'm not listening to lyrical. So I don't want to listen to somebody else's voice. I don't want to hear Drake or Kendrick or someone, their lyrics, what they wrote. I want to create my own movie, but I soundtrack it with that music. So for me, even when I was doing those runs that day, I'm like, how am I going to make it through this 5K? And I know you're probably live 5K, right? But I'm like, how do I get? So I'm like, okay, let's break this 5K into 5-round fight. Okay, it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes or a mile or whatever it's going to be. And I'll be I'll visualize how usually in the second and third, you really got to your corner has to really step in and be like, yo, you gotta get going. So I was visualizing, it got me through it, but I wasn't listening to anything lyrical. It was all powerful Hans Zimmer scores, symphony and stuff. And I find that for me, that's been huge.
I think it's important if people are listening to this to experiment.
Yeah.
Try different things, because what works for you may not work for the next guy,
Exactly,
and what I do might not work for somebody else.
Yeah.
But maybe try them.
Yeah.
And then keep trying.
Yeah.
Because there's a solution for anybody if they keep working at it, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And that's it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Like, what's your recovery protocol then?
Oh man.
Because
Yeah,
you're running every.
That's crazy.
You're running
7.5
every day.
hours.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask the same thing. I'm like, well, how do you
damn.
recover from
Yeah, how
that
do you recover from
draining day?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long day.
Yeah.
But keep in mind though, like I've been at this overall. I started running in 2020,
now. Yeah.
right? So I started from 0.
Yeah.
I've been pushing the envelope since
Little
then.
by little.
Since then,
Yep.
I had a 5-year plan, right? And each year I've had to improve on that. So like this run is a training block,
That's
right?
crazy.
Because if I'm running across Canada, that's 7,300 kilometers, right? So the goal is to run at least 100 a day. So, and that's the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest 7 times,
Yep.
the vertical gain, right?
That's
So,
insanity.
you know, it sounds like 60K it's a lot, but I need to do that to train the body and mind for what's going to happen next year.
But isn't that crazy? Okay, so now let's look at the human anatomy and the human mind and the human body, right? We're all flesh, we're flesh vehicles at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? He's adjusted his body to do what it's doing. You adjusted to yours. Mine, I taught it to fight. And it's kind of crazy that how crazy the human body truly is. Like he wasn't even running years ago and then trained him.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's crazy how you can program
That's
yourself.
exactly it.
Yeah.
You can
That's
stop
literally it.
programming of anything, right?
You can turn your body. So this is a funny thing. I had this one friend of mine. We were at the gym a few years ago. And this one kind of just started running, right, and really getting into it, and transitioned out of bodybuilding, kind of. And she's like, "Oh, so you're a runner now, right?"
Yeah.
I go, "Look, I'm whatever I want to be.
Right.
I decide what my body's gonna be.
Yeah.
So I make that decision. So whatever I'm gonna do, my body's gonna turn into that. So if I wanted to be a jiu-jitsu player, I'm going to train jiu-jitsu. I'm going to do that every day, and you'll transform into that. If I'm running every single day, I mean, naturally, I'm going to lose 20 pounds.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then, even if I were to lift, like I still, like when I'm not doing what I'm doing right now, like I'm running usually about 100 to 150K a week, and I still lift during that time. So I can kind of maintain, but now it's just like not lifting as much, but that's the goal.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about how I look, man. It's about achieving or executing against the goal, right? So that's so all the other shit people thinking, like people get stuck in how they look and I don't want to lose my gains. It's all I mean, to me it's kind of like whatever. You're stuck in that ego place and thinking about how I look and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Do you find that it's because you've critiqued your mindset on how to face difficulty, hardship, that it becomes easier to challenge yourself even more?
100%. I mean, so for me, it's like, it depends on the type of physical activity and how long you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes a huge difference on mental capacity. So if you're running for 7 hours, that's a psychosomatic event that you're putting onto your mind.
Yep. Exactly.
It's creating stress, like a severe amount of stress, right? So if you're able to allow yourself to recover, sleep, heal, now you've created mental capacity. You're able to handle more.
Do that. Yep.
You're able to. Who cares about the body, man? It's what the mind can handle.
What
You
the
can
mind
actually, you've created resilience.
Yeah.
In that. So over the last 4 years, that's what I've been doing every single day.
Yeah.
So the way I respond to things now compared to 3 years ago, I'm a different human.
Different, yeah.
Legitimately, I'm a different person from last year, based on just the output and workload I've been doing. And then I'm learning so much. Like get to meet so many different people and get to get all this information. So I'm uniquely kind of in a place right now where I feel like I've earned a PhD in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
One thing I want to add to that, like we were talking about how men have stress. It's much more difficult for them to express depression and all that sort, and whatever stress it may be. I think the greatest way to at least take the first step on trying to clear your head or something, just go for a walk.
100%.
There's
Like
no money.
yeah.
There's no money, right?
Yeah.
You're going for a walk, going for a run. After that run, it leads to something else, right? Whether it be you want to go for, you know, a long distance, whatever it may be, but it impacts every part of your life, right? Your mindset, business, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm an athlete of any sort, but it's because my dad put me through sports that I'm able to carry that mindset that I had for that into other avenues that I wanted to be, right? It was that first step.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think people, this is going way off, but it's just like people kind of jump to where this person has become successful, right? They shortcut it, but they don't really understand where that person came from.
Well, they haven't defined success for themselves correctly yet.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it starts 1 mile at a time.
It
Yeah,
really does.
Right?
exactly.
It really starts with one. Like you start 1 mile. Like yesterday, because I was listening to one of his podcasts, and I was like, okay, I need to go to the track. I want to feel this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I'm coming, like you guys know, I'm coming off a full ACL
ACL,
reconstruction when I was getting ready for basically becoming the
One
number 2 guy in the
biggest
world.
fight, yeah.
And it was a full ACL reconstruction, and I've always been scared for that impact. So I've always been swimming and running in the water. Yesterday was the first time I actually ran 400s, 200s, and dude, I forgot what a runner's high feels like.
Yeah.
It's the way, dude, it's different. In Vegas, I get it like crazy because I'm already in elevation, and like I'll see Goggins running, like when I'm running on the same path, and I'll see him running, and I just know that runner's high, what you ride off of, the way your mind works, the way the stress is left, and you just, it's like, you know, like if it's like having a high, like if you were to smoke weed, except you naturally did it.
Yeah.
You created that natural, and then the productive energy that you have for the rest of the day is just unreal, and it's just like you're saying, sometimes you just got to get out there.
You do.
Yeah.
And you just got to take that first step. And for me, I remember the first 4 minutes, I'm like, I don't want to run. My Achilles is hurting. I don't know if I should. I was feeling a low tweak in my knees. I'm like, this might be kind of stupid to do. Then I started going. I got on a trail instead of running the track. I found a trail. I'm like, let me warm up on a trail. It keeps my mind intact when I got something else to kind of do. Then I got on the track and I started sprinting 400s, and it was a football team on the other side. I'm like, I'm going to do this shit like I used to do in my 20s. And dude, the way I felt after, and I was just saying, I was listening to your stuff, and I was just like, it really is one step at a time. And now I was listening to the Creed soundtrack because I like to listen to music while I'm doing it. And that's what I like when I go for runs in like Henderson and Vegas and stuff like that. That's what I'm always listening to because that temperature is so hot out there. You're running at 45 degrees every single day, and you're dropping weight. But it's different. I got out there, and that stress just released itself.
Yeah,
and just feeling like a different animal, like I can get back to it. I can become that guy again. Started coming back.
What I think you said there, and what I heard you say, and I think people, if they're not listening carefully enough, should have heard that. You found a solution in the moment when you had your knee feel like shit. You didn't think, oh, I need to stop.
Right.
Yep.
You found a solution. Maybe I'll go on the trail.
Right.
So I think people skip the steps. Oh, I feel something. They want to find the reason to stop.
Yeah.
And they don't find the solution to continue.
Exactly.
Well, for me, like even these guys know during my ACL, I cut it down from like a year and a half out down to 8 months. Because every day I would just go to the pool by myself and run in the pool. And whether I could lift it, I still had the stitches in there and stuff like that. And I was running in there, and that's how I cut down the time. I was running and trying to get the movement back. And I was back in Vegas training by September, which was 8 months. And now I'm kind of reprogramming my body back. And now the next step is to get back in the cage.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it's been like, you know, it's been the process.
Journey,
it's been a long journey. It's the longest I've been away from the cage, but the most obstacles I've faced by being away.
Do you think you learned the most during this time too, or do you think that maybe like in terms of like how to navigate something like that?
And more self-reflection to do because you do have like, you know,
I
different
created. I saw that there is more to life than just fighting. I think maybe that was something that I needed to see because my entire identity was being an MMA fighter, and when it was taken away from me, I was in a dark spot sitting in my house. I was going through it. I was like, dude, I don't know anything. I don't even know how to function as a proper husband, really, other than like, and I'm just like, and I have my wife taking care of me, so I'm a very independent person. I'm like, she's getting me out of the bed when I got to go to the washroom. I got to tell her she has to take one leg off. I'm just like, dude, I don't want to rely on anybody. Like, this is weird as hell. But me just being home and being like kind of seeing, oh yeah, like people still love me, whether I am who I am. The core group of people don't care what I do or if I ever go back in the cage and stuff like that. And that's where I think I'm glad that my passion was connected to me representing my community, because if it was about impressing the people in my household, I would have felt pretty complete and the motivation would have died, because I'm like, I've done, nobody really cares what I'm doing. So now I'm kind of like, I'm glad it wasn't, like I was saying, the guy that won the,
Superficial.
like the guy that won the fight yesterday is like, it's like, all these girls have just been breaking my heart. Like I said, when the girls start breaking his heart, he's not going to have that drive.
I think it's super important, though, that you attached it to the community and representing, because that's going to allow you to still stay positive, do the right thing. So that's legit.
Yeah, for me, that's kind of why I want to start this. I was like, first of all, I'm like, I probably, like most guys, should get therapy in some way. I'm like, what's a way that I can do 2 in 1? I always want to start a podcast, and I wanted to do it with 2 dope people, so I found these guys. Yeah. And then I'm like, I get therapy and a podcast out of the same thing. So it was almost a selfish reason behind it. But look what we're talking about. Yeah. These are the conversations that are probably, each one of us probably releasing something we don't even know it. Something's coming off. Something's going to help us sleep better tonight.
Yo, right? What Gary said right there, releasing, there's something that's going, that is so true.
In a comfortable
especially with guys, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm fortunate enough to have some pretty cool dudes around me where I have no issue saying whatever and without judgment.
Right? Yeah.
And I think probably that's what helped me the most through all my kind of stuff. Because we don't talk to people, man.
We don't.
We keep things in, and then what happens? It spirals. You start thinking other things, and you're like, "What?" Like you become delusional to a certain degree, right? And I think it's important to be able to bounce ideas off someone who's someone who's objective but has the best interest for you.
For you, exactly.
Right? Yeah. And this is awesome, man. So
kudos to you guys. Like I lost my cousin to suicide, and it was like I was always like, I was 13, 14, and I was always asking my mom, like what
why?
happened?
Yeah.
And it was just that stigma. Like it was like they wouldn't tell me straight up. Like, oh, he had too many Tylenols. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? How does somebody like? And this was a guy that I was around all the time, the one who introduced me to MMA. I actually hated the UFC and MMA when I was around him. I used to like watching like WWE, but just to hang around him, I was used to just pretend that I was enjoying it. And one of our favorite fighters was Vitor Belfort. And there's a crazy story behind that. I'm sure you guys saw that story on YouTube and stuff. And so for me, that was just such a crazy thing, because now I'm starting to make sense. I'm like, if I had just known, I would have spoken to him. But I'm a 13, 14-year-old kid. I don't know any better. Then I've lost other friends to it. And even being in an MMA gym, as great as an environment is, of course, there's a toxic mentality in that gym. I'm around some crazy ass animals, right? No one's coming in there talking about, hey, I kind of feel sad today. They tell us, they're like, listen, if you guys like, coaches get us together, like, listen, because we've had one of our coaches commit suicide. He went to he literally gave himself a samurai execution, which was absolutely nuts. And he was the happiest guy in the gym, nicest guy. Then he went up to the top of Mount Charleston, which is a top mountain in Vegas, and literally took a Bushido sword and just cut himself across on his knee and we're just like, holy shit.
That's
and it's just like nobody ever spoke to him. Like nobody ever knew that he was going through everything, because he was so happy all the time. And it's just, if he just had somebody, it was just.
And that's what kind of we creating.
Yeah.
I think like one thing I want to discuss, like the last thing I want to touch upon, like, this is the one thing I saw. I was recently at a wedding, man. It was, the downplaying of like how environment has changed from this one Granthi that was at the wedding. Bro, the amount of bashing and the embarrassment this guy put on, like
the
Granthi.
Okay.
So this is the main head of the committee. Yeah. So this is the marriage that recently happened between one of my close friends' brothers. So he invited me. I went. Mind you not. So the girl is Hindu and the girl and the guy is Punjabi. During the wedding, you know what this guy said? Like after it's all done and said, he said, he's like, he's like, Jimmy Sunny, like that was the guy's name. He's like, Bada Saukaya. And the other girl, like her name was like, it was, I guess you can say it's hard for him to pronounce, but like you making a mockery in front of the whole Sangha.
Their name?
But he's like, no, he's like, thoda manu aukha lag gaya kehna. I'm like,
how hard is this Sunny?
No, the girl's name. So it's like her name was like, I don't know, I don't want to butcher her name, but like it's something that if you don't know, go ask the family, how do you say it before the wedding? Yeah. Right? And then on top of that, you know what this, and then in I guess in a Hindu ceremony, the way they do it is they put rose petals as the bride comes in. He's bashing the family for doing that. They're like, we're changing our ways for our liking. It's hard for us to clean up after. I'm like,
yeah, people are trying to do the same thing for mine, because my wife should do.
What are we on?
Yeah, they're
and like,
trying.
And then the embarrassment he's causing in front of everybody, and then on top of that, he's bashing people. Instead of like, one thing I learned from there is that learn knowledge and willing to reflect. That Granthi had none of that. He never learned what kind of era we're living in right now, the environment we're living in. the knowledge that he has, I don't think he had any from given what he said at that time. And third, to reflect on himself, what he's saying, is that appropriate to do it at the time that he did it? And two, he's telling kids, he's like, oh, why are you shaving your beards? He's telling girls, why are you guys cutting your hairs in front of the whole Sangha that's there to attend a wedding? So look how toxic that environment is.
I mean, for me, like I've been out of the Gurdwara for a long time. For me, I never really was a religious person. But for me now, I live my life in a way that follows Sikhi to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But why I left or didn't even attend much is because the rampant hypocrisy that I would see.
Yep.
So not just from what you're talking about, but from we're warriors. I didn't see one. How fat are you? Yeah. What are you eating?
That's exactly
that's true. That is very true.
For me, like if you're gonna talk about being, that's who we are.
The warrior mentality.
A warrior.
Yeah.
The amount that used to slide into my DM and be like, why aren't you talking on this subject? I'm like, you know what? Build their body up, become an MMA fighter, get that platform, and talk about whatever the hell you want. Don't give me the narrative. I made my way. I got my own narrative. And if you know what, get in shape, learn the skills, and be the warrior that you are. And you can talk about whatever the hell you want.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read to the degree
Granthi
would have been, but I'm sure it probably doesn't say talk crap about other people.
Hypocrisy, as you said.
You know what I mean?
It's huge.
Like, if you actually go through, and then these are quote unquote the educated, when it comes to our Sikhi, they read the Granth Sahib. They, where does it say any of that? Where is it any time in our culture that says to put down another culture ever? Ekta, ekam kar. What does that mean? Does that not mean anything to you?
I was met with Ravi Singh today.
CEO
Kalsaid.
Oh, you were with him today?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was here
I got
today.
a message him. He's actually a good friend of mine.
Yeah, so he was here.
No
I think he leaves tomorrow.
Oh no way. Yeah,
So-
I always catch him on the way out somehow.
but to the point where we're talking about is like he was talking about like we're all the same, man. Like he's going to help people that are
He's
different.
on a different
I mean, come on, man. Like
People bash him,
Yeah,
amount of time I
whatever.
see that, it's embarrassing. I'm like, he's doing so much. No matter you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Buddhist, you're doesn't matter who you are. He doesn't go there to look at the skin. You're black.
if you're hurting,
you're in need. We're there.
Compassion, right?
Yep.
So where's the compassion for some of these people?
That's supposed to be teaching our younger generation.
He was actually they were the only organization that never asked me to say anything, and I said something because I believed in so much cause. So after I won my fight in Singapore, when they were really trying to get all the COVID masks over there, and they were the ones on the ground and stuff, Ravi Singh and all them, and I took that. So I'm like, listen, guys, because India was having a crazy oxygen situation when they were cremating people in the streets, and they were the ones on the floor. They were on the ground doing it,
helping them out. Yeah.
And they were one of the only people that never asked me to use the platform for. They're like, dude, you have a platform. They never did, and I was like, these are the guys I want to represent. I want to talk about them. And Ravi Singh and them, they were the only.
Like, man, I'm in the middle of my run. I got up at 5 this morning, knocked out 41. And then I went to
knocked out 41.
Says it's like it's easy.
Knocked out 41.
And then I went to.
I just knocked it out.
Sorry.
Shit is
Took me 41 minutes to get to the gym.
Bro, at this point, this shit is easy.
I mean, it's not easy, but we're gonna say you knocked it out. And then I went down. He was just over here at the city hall, right?
Oh wow.
So I drove out here, and then I was there. Then went back home. I had to finish up, and then. But for me, it was like, man, I'm gonna go take time out of my day and see what he's got to say. And
out of respect.
Yeah. Well, and look, man, like I want to be able to help a lot of people too, right? And I need to learn how to do those things, and I need to understand that he's been in the game for 25 years helping people, right? So I'm just starting. So of course I'm gonna go see what he's got to say.
And I think that goes perfectly into that: learn, attain the knowledge, and reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a repetition you need to have in life I think, as you said, to kind of put it all together to achieve the excellence.
Yeah, man.
Like I think it's just amazing how you took a negative situation and turned it into
what
it's
a beautiful thing.
It's actually something that Vitor Belfort actually Vitor Belfort is the one who actually told me that when I started talking about my mental health battles and stuff like that. He's like, use your pain to heal others' pain. 100%. Because I don't know if you know about the story of his sister. His sister when she got abducted and
that's brutal stuff.
Yeah,
too,
so and then he
and
he's probably the most Christian man you'll ever meet. For anybody to find God after going through all that, to knowing what was going on in the favelas of Brazil, what they still don't have an answer on where his sister ever is.
But if you think about it, he probably saw how it was helping him. right? So for the reason why I say that is because for me, I mean, as soon as I started doing Seva, like helping in the way that I want to help, man, I was feeling a lot better about things, and I was not thinking about how shitty my life was. Right. I was thinking about other people.
But to even feel that, to even like want to feel that, like if you're in such a toxic place and someone's like, listen, if you just do this, you'll feel this way.
I don't know.
For you to even want to do it, right?
So
like
I can tell you what I was thinking at the time. I was running, and I had gotten to the point where I was able to run a half marathon every single day in February of 2021. And then as soon as I did that, this is the thought process at that time, because I remember it right now. February 2021, that end of that week, I finished running 21 kilometers every single day for the week. And then at the end of that week, I was like, cool, I can run across Canada because Terry Fox ran a marathon a day. I can run a half in the morning, half in the afternoon. That's what I started thinking. Then I thought, okay, let me see what else I can do as I'm running. And then in November of 2021, for Remembrance Day, I wanted to run 100 kilometers from Chilliwack to YVR. And then in that sort of space, I was like, that's where I was thinking, okay, how can I leverage this for positivity? And I don't know where that came from.
I think that's a beautiful thing, man. And you know, to kind of wrap this up, I want to wish you luck for your, you know, what you're doing, man. It's important.
Thanks, man.
I mean that bottom of my heart. Like even like joining to you, I love to listen to you. You know, some of the stuff that you put out there because I think it's needed, man. We promote all this other bullshit. We need to promote this more and more. So you know, I want to thank you for even taking the time out of your day.
Man,
to
anytime,
out,
man. I'm of service anytime you need.
I think a perfect quote I just remembered right now is it's a quote that I saw on Instagram. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about it too. I listened to it. It's just like you have to go through war in order to become peaceful.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So, and war as in like mentally, right? So I think.
You're gonna say something about Kobe and not leaving.
I mean, there's Kobe has plenty of quotes.
And not leaving your childhood friends behind.
Yeah, job's not done.
Job's not done.
I mean, that's an absolutely valid point, man. When he said that one time, he's like, the job's not done. Why are you getting happy for it?
Yeah.
I can run these 60 kilometers a day for 60 days, and I'm not done yet.
Not done.
I gotta still do
That's
my
actually a
shit.
quote in our house. Like my wife applies that and everything. She's like, you haven't got the belt yet. Job's not done.
Yeah.
Job's not done. So we have like empty compartments still, and they're filling up, and there's one left.
Yeah.
That's what it is. She's like, job's not done.
We'll finish that podcast on that. If you think job's done, that shit ain't done.
Nah.
Job's never done.
Job's done when the final breath.
Job's done when I'm done.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, don't be that grunty. That's hating on people.
The grunty needs to get fired. I'm gonna beat his ass. And I'm like, I'm gonna get up there. I'm like, nah, they're crazy. But whatever, man. I want to thank everybody, you know, tuning into the episode, man. I want everybody to kind of, you know, give us a feedback on how you think we can even do better, or what things you guys think, oh, this is not the right way, whatever it is. We want feedback from the people to kind of put forth better content for you guys. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. So, you know, feedback is important. Always leave comments and everything, personally DM or whatever it is. Reach out to any of us, man. We're more than willing to open our, you know, our hands to anybody that needs. And, you know, there's always someone out there. Don't ever think you're alone. Reach out, man. Especially when you're going through a lot of mental crisis, you never think alone. There's always someone. Just have that humility to reach out, because someone will, man. Somebody will help you out. So on that note, one such, thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Gary, Mok, and myself, I'm Red. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.
See you.